Hi there and welcome to the channel. Today we will examine the UK's official letter to the EU, the train wreck of an interview with Lord Frost, and the EU's response. Unfortunately, we will also discover how the UK has been exposed to the world as a nation that needs serious surgery to repair the damage being inflicted upon the economy. The gormless stupidity and laissez-faire approach by those in authority requires immediate repair. By experienced people, by smart people, by dedicated people who are more focused on getting a good job done than they are about pushing their own personal publicity. So let's go. In a previous video, we looked at the performance of Lord Frost. The intimation in that video was that his extreme lack of the skill sets required at the negotiating table were obvious. In the next clip, you will hear from Lord Frost admit that we were basically right, and that by inflicting deadlines, which you never do at a negotiating table, it switches the focus from a calculated construction of an agreement to a scrawl on the back of a fag packet. Now, let's remind ourselves of how the contradicting and intransigent opinions resulted in the mess we now have. First we will hear from Boris, then we will hear from Lord Frost.
We're continuing to chew the super masticated subject of Brexit, when what people want is to be calmly and sensibly done with the subject and to move on. And that is why we are coming out of the EU on October the 31st, come what may.
So what we're trying to do is create space for a discussion. And what we've found so far is that there are lots of so-called cliff edges of deadlines, and we spend time trying to resolve those rather than looking at the fundamentals.
There you have it. Two completely different conflicting opinions. There simply could not be two more polar opposites there. But these guys seem to think that the world doesn't notice the obvious state of desperation. They do notice, and they've also noticed barefaced lies. Here's Jacob Rees-Mogg's opinion, which, by the way, may I suggest that, basically now speaking, anybody educated at Eton should never be trusted.
As a long-standing Eurosceptic, I'm really pleased with the deal that the Prime Minister Boris Johnson has achieved with the European Union. Now, special arrangements have been made for Northern Ireland for two reasons. One, the obvious one, that Northern Ireland has a land border with the European Union. That is the only United Kingdom land border with the EU, and arrangements needed to be made to deal with that. What this deal has achieved is that Northern Ireland will be in the same customs bloc as the United Kingdom. Full stop, unquestionably. Subject, crucially, to the consent of the people of Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland's people and politicians will be able to choose whether to remain in alignment with the EU or not.
By the way, you can view that video on the Conservatives' website. It's still there. Now, how in the hell this bloke can say that the people of Northern Ireland had a choice in this is beyond me. The people of all Northern Ireland voted to remain. But don't take my word for it. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, maybe the vote was wrong. But let's hear directly from the horse's mouth, shall we? And listen to the reaction of the DUP, pro-Brexit baby, for the same deal Jacob Rees-Mogg was speaking about, where he spoke about how we must have consensus for the people from Northern Ireland.
Under this deal, what we are seeing is that our main market for goods in and out of Northern Ireland will have checks imposed upon it. The VAT rules are going to be largely aligned with the European customs VAT rules. And as well as that, of course, there's the issue of consent. There's no opt-in to these rules. So that, of course, all of that together makes this deal unacceptable for us.
There you have it. This typifies the stupidity but the arrogance of Westminster. It supports the supposition that such a contradictory mentality displayed by those in power cannot compete on a big stage, let alone a world stage. Now, though this statement may seem harsh, We know it to be true, and we have to accept it. We know from the G7 meeting that that statement is right on the money. That summit was an international embarrassment from start to finish. This cabinet, guys, it simply does not have the political savvy to serve the people in any meaningful or constructive way. In short, I'm sorry, it's a joke. But there is hope. And believe it or not, it's coming from the media, the Associated Press. So how about this as an example of real journalism? The question she asks here, just in case you can't hear it, and I have to refer, is this such a rubbish deal? Why did you negotiate it? And why did the Prime Minister sign up to it? But then she asks, why did you not resign? Let's listen.
Lord Frost, if this was such a rubbish deal, why did you negotiate it and why did the Prime Minister sign up to it?
So the situation in Northern Ireland is a difficult one. It's a serious one. The protocol is operating in a way which is undermining the peace process. It's undermining the Belfast Good Friday Agreement.
Are you going to apologise to the people of Northern Ireland, or are you consider resigning because of the disruption you now say it's causing?
So we now need to resolve the situation that is there in Northern Ireland. That's why we've put forward proposals today to
I think the next
change
clip
the
is as close to
so
an
the goods
admission
flow
as one could receive that these donuts presented an agreement that A, they did not understand, B, did not train up the staff for, C, did not provide the infrastructure required, and D, thought they could bluster their way through it as they have done in so many other screw-ups. Let's take another listen to our Lord Frost.
So we now need to resolve the situation that is there in Northern Ireland. That's why we've put forward proposals today to change the protocol.
Now let's look a little bit more at the document sent to the EU. I've left a link to in the description below. So the first thing that'll strike you when you read it is the title, the command document. So before this numpty even gets out through the gates, he titles the document the command document. That is deliberately confrontational. This will not be missed by the EU or elsewhere. Why? Because it's infantile, it's moronic to say that you're looking to negotiate or compromise on a treaty in one breath and then summarize your views in a command document. Now, there may be some of you out there that think the title is not important. Well, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. It is the title that sets the tone of any agreement or negotiation. If you get a letter from the bank that says letter of demand or final notice, you'll sit up and take notice immediately. If you get a letter that says award of contract, you'll take notice immediately. No matter whether or not the remaining content is as bad as you first expected or as good as you first expected, that title will stick with you. It's human nature. But I've read the document, and take it from me, it's a joke. Not because of what it says, but what it doesn't say. Let me explain. It's very unadvisable to write a bad reference, for example. You know, if you say that the guy was always late or dishonest, a bad attitude, believe me, that can land you in trouble. Now, HR guys and the employers, they know this. So if there's no reference to punctuality, no reference to appearance, no reference to work ethics, no reference to getting all well with fellow employees, alarm bells will go off. Okay? If, however, there is detail in the reference, employers will perk up. This document, this command document, is being touted around as a letter constructed to show voters how genuine the UK is in dealing with the problem. The subsequent interviews, I'm sick of listening to them, have been orchestrated to release a narrative that the UK are willing to enter into meaningful negotiations and have made proposals to the EU. This document does no such thing. It simply lists off the issues they're having. We've been listening to that for 6 months. It also says that it is adversely affecting the majority of the people in Northern Ireland. This is a lie. Plain and simple. Again, it needs to be pointed out that the real negotiators, the real politicians, keep a very close eye on that stuff. They really do. And these con men continue to take the UK electorate as fools and treat experienced professional negotiators the same. That's always going to end in disaster. The document basically had two things to it. One, the amount of money that the UK has committed to the agreement, and two, highlighting the problems that have been beaten to death for the last 6 months. Other than that, there wasn't anything there. However, these numpties seem to think that the EU and the rest of the world are deaf and blind. Frost seems to think the EU are not aware that the grand scheme designed to attract more customs agents completely backfired. You see, the numpties, they offered employment grants for custom clearing agents to hire new staff to deal with the extra work. Oh, that's a good idea. But according to Red Recruit Global, and they are the normal go-to guys for this type of stuff, the 50 million scheme had enabled companies to recruit staff already working in the industry, while still qualifying for up to £15,000 subsidies per employee. Of course, they were also able to recruit people from outside the customs agency, but why would you do that when you can get experienced people on 15 grand in the back? Makes no sense. What happened though? Well, according to the industry, the government wanted to increase the number of customs brokers in the industry, not to fund the poaching of customs brokers in the industry, not to help fund the poaching of experienced agents from one company to another and just create more ridiculous salaries, but to get new people in. The UK freight industry has estimated that the country will need 50,000 more customs intermediaries to help complete an anticipated 260 million new customs declarations annually. Let me say that figure again. 260 million extra customs declarations. But the news got even worse than even I had imagined. Earlier, the guy from Red Recruit Global, Austin Butterfield, a shipping recruitment supervisor, said the grants were facilitating both new recruitment and movements within the companies. A customs broker with 2 to 3 years experience who was earning 25,000 in January was now able to command the region of 35,000. That was in October of last year. So from 25 to 35,000. Now, unfortunately, this was happening, but things have settled back to about 30,000 because the exports from the small and the medium-sized companies, they've collapsed. They really have collapsed. So that work is no longer there. All of that being said, the EU have responded to that letter, but this time they did it publicly, and it was quite straightforward. In the area of sanitary and phytosanitary, the SPS measures, the Commission has suggested that the UK continues to follow, even if only temporarily, the EU sanitary and phytosanitary rules, just as it does now. Then most checks on Great Britain, Northern Ireland trade would be removed if they adopted the so-called Swiss-style veterinary agreement. But that's been rejected by the UK. Why? Well, the UK wants to import hormone-treated beef, so no joy on that one. In the area of medicines, the EU said it's particularly sensitive to public health issues and has identified a solution to ensure continued long-term supply of medicine to Northern Ireland, whether from Great Britain or coming through Great Britain. And it also added that the EU solution involves the EU changing its own rules, which it is willing to do. Now, the other big deal was being made about second-hand cards. And now we've got the UK, claiming that Westminster claiming, oh, there's a problem with cars going into Northern Ireland, blah, 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 blah. The EU responded, give us the essential details on the solution you propose and give us the data that supports your accusation. But give us the solution. There was no solution, okay? In the area of TRQs, which is tariff rate quotas, Imports of goods into Northern Ireland cannot benefit from the quota system of the EU or the UK. According to the UK, this means that the cost of importing certain products into Northern Ireland can be higher than it is in the EU or in the UK. They went on to say, it took time, like the EU rather went on to say, well, guys, in the UK, it took you time to identify this issue. So as soon as we became aware of it, we will immediately explore solutions. Meanwhile, can you provide some evidence of these alleged problems instead of just mentioning it? Where's the evidence of it? Now, in response to the rhetoric of how the UK is being treated differently to others in regards to meat imports into Northern Ireland, they said a New Zealand-style veterinary agreement, which is being touted as why can't we be treated like the New Zealand, that veterinary agreement based on equivalences would not remove the checks. Again, there is a reason the UK does not import lamb from Australia, because it's hormone treated. The numpties in Westminster have reverted to the old smoke and mirrors crap. It's not going to work. In fact, I feel sorry for the negotiators. They're sitting at a table trying to work through this crap. Why? Because their immediate boss is a fool, and they know he's a fool. And they also know they're being used as political pawns. Nothing more than that. Nothing more. And by the way, only people that are poor at their job would work under such leadership. Smart people do not work for stupid bosses. They will if there's an upside for their own career. And in this case, it means one thing: money. That's the only thing it's going to mean. But that means that the results that they achieve are secondary to what needs to be accomplished, because their heart cannot be in it. See you next time. Thanks for watching.